welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the complete transformation of ISO 5001. You know, the global standard that basically tells the world's biggest companies how to manage their energy.
So, to really get a grip on what's changed, we've got to start with the big question you see right here. Why on earth was this massive update even necessary in the first place? Well, the truth is, the business world is just a different beast now. You've got energy costs that are all over the place. Competition is more intense than ever. And let's be honest, the pressure to be sustainable is coming from absolutely everywhere. The old way of doing things, it just wasn't going to cut it anymore. Businesses needed a much smarter, more strategic way to turn this huge cost into an actual competitive edge. And that brings us to the crucial point. This 2018 update wasn't some minor tune-up. No way. This was a ground-up redesign, built on a totally new, unified structure that makes it way more powerful and so much easier to use with other systems. Okay, so the absolute biggest game changer here is the adoption of what's called the ISO high-level structure, or HLS for short. Think of it as the new backbone for all the major ISO standards. Not just energy, but quality and environmental management too. Bottom line, all these different systems finally speak the same language. And honestly, this analogy of a universal port just nails it. Before, it was like juggling a bunch of different devices with different chargers, a total headache. Now you can create one integrated management system where everything just plugs right in. It cuts down on duplicated work, streamlines everything, and just makes the whole operation run smoother. So you may be thinking this is all just technical stuff, right? Well, not at all. This new framework actually forces a completely new way of thinking inside a company. And that change, it starts right at the very top. Think about it like this. The old standard was often just a box-ticking exercise. It was something you handed off to a single management rep. But the new standard? It demands that the C-suite, the top leaders, are actively and visibly involved. Energy management is no longer some side hustle. It's a core piece of the business strategy, and the whole leadership team owns it. And this is where it gets really smart. This new leadership focus goes hand in hand with another huge shift. Thinking about risk. It's all about looking ahead. Instead of just reacting when things go wrong, companies now have to actively look for potential risks, and just as importantly, opportunities. This lets them put their money and effort where it'll make the biggest difference, and believe me, prevent a lot of headaches down the road. Okay, so you've got leadership on board. Now what? Well, now it's time to talk about the data. Because let's face it, without good data, you're just flying blind. The updated standard totally revamps how companies use it. First things first, the standard gets way clearer on how to find what it calls your significant energy uses, or SEUs. These are the heavy hitters, the machines, the processes that are guzzling the most energy. By zeroing in on these, you're focusing your efforts where you'll get the biggest bang for your buck. And once you know where you're spending your energy, you gotta track how well you're using it, right? That's where energy performance indicators, or ENPIs, come in. The standard pushes organizations to create really meaningful metrics, kind of like the MPG rating for your car, that actually prove you're getting better. Now, this next part is absolutely crucial, and it's a huge addition. The standard now requires something called normalization. It's a fancy word for a simple idea: adjusting your data for things you can't control. For instance, a factory is obviously going to use more energy on a freezing cold day. Normalization accounts for that, so you can see if you're truly getting more efficient, or if it was just a warm week. It's all about comparing apples to apples. The new standard also gives you a much clearer roadmap. Step 1, find your big energy hogs. Step 2, figure out what things affect their performance, like how fast you're running the production line or the temperature outside. And step 3, identify the actual people who can influence that performance. It's a really logical flow that connects the data directly to the people who can make a change. You know, sometimes a small change in wording can signal a massive change in thinking, and that's exactly what we see here. What used to be the energy measurement plan is now the energy data collection plan. It might seem small, but it's a big deal. It shifts the focus from just passively measuring stuff to actively and strategically collecting all the data you need to really understand what's going on. So we've got leadership, risk-based thinking, and way better data. But what's the engine that ties it all together and makes sure it keeps running? Let's look at the core of the whole system. The entire standard is built around this classic, powerful loop: plan, do, check, act. This is the real engine of improvement. You plan what you're going to do. You go out and do it. You check the results to see if it actually works, and then you act on what you learned to do it even better the next time. It's a constant cycle that ensures the system is always getting better and never gets stale. And that right there is the heart of it. ISO 50001 is not a one-and-done project. It's not about a certificate you hang on the wall. It demands real, hard proof that your energy performance is getting better day in and day out. It's about building a permanent culture of efficiency. So, when you pull it all together, what's the big takeaway? The 2018 update completely changed the game. It takes energy management out of its silo, away from being just a reporting task, and turns it into a powerful, data-driven strategic tool that's baked right into the core of the business. By embracing this new way of thinking, organizations aren't just saving a few bucks or shrinking their carbon footprint. They're building businesses that are more resilient, more efficient, and flat out more competitive. They're turning energy from just another line on the budget into a real strategic asset. And that's the power of this overhaul.